Hello everyone, welcome once again to the channel. My name is Amos from Symmetry Acoustics. Today's video is about bass traps and why it's such a confusing term to a lot of people. So what exactly are bass traps? So bass trap in itself is a term that is used in commercial acoustics to kind of describe broadband absorption or a panel or a material that is designed to absorb low frequencies. So the question is, which is this bass that we're talking about? Where do we start talking about bass? Up to this point, I want to assume a lot of you guys understand frequency range. We have high frequencies, 1 kilohertz and above. We have mid-range, maybe 800, 500 to 500. And then we have lower mid-range, 500 to around 300 hertz. And then we have where supposedly bass starts from, in most cases around 200 hertz, because a lot of rooms start to resonate at that. Which I talked about in the other video as crossover points, shorter frequency. So a lot of rooms will start to resonate at 200, and that's technically where, in most cases, we find to be bass dominant going downwards. So a device that's able to absorb 200 hertz, 100, 80, 70, 60, 50 is the device that is called bass trap because it absorbs more lower frequencies. Yes, compared to the other regular panels that are designed for mid-range and high-frequency absorption. So which kind of bass traps do we have in the market today? So before we dive into scrutinizing the kind of bass trap that we have, let's first of all also talk about what bass trap is not, because it's really confusing. Bass trap being a technical term used for sales purposes. So what I have here, this is sold as a bass trap. This is this 4-inch? This is 5 inch by 5 inch by probably a foot. This is not even a foot. This is like 8 inch. So we have 5 inch, 5 inch, 8 inch, and these are sold as bass trap. One of my colleagues bought this one, and he was really disappointed. These even if you are not a professional, and somebody sells you this as a bass trap, number one, the size itself does not allow it to absorb any low frequency. So these are mid-range high frequency absorption. I would compare to a 2-inch form in this case, or a 3-inch form in this case. So these are mid-range high frequency absorption material, and also it's so small because for you to even hear any audible difference using this thing, you need a lot of them. And it's not a bass trap, guys, and also it's not even a broadband absorber. It's too small. So when somebody sells you this is a bass trap, it's not appropriate material to absorb low frequency. The question is, how about this one? This is a bit bigger. It's just a bigger brother. Is this a bass trap? So this is where the confusion comes in, because when you talk about bass trap, we're talking about absorbing low frequencies. When you look at NRC ratings of especially foam or fabric panels, they start from around 125. And that is the rating that is there when they were testing it, 125 to around 4-5 kilohertz. So they assume that any panel that absorbs below 200 hertz or below 250 hertz is a bass trap. So I would call these, actually this is not a bass trap. It's sold as a bass trap, but this is the broadband absorber, and the reason I call it broadband absorber is because it at least absorbs all the way to around, the peak performance of this is around 250 hertz. So it does not still go low enough. It does not absorb even enough of 100 hertz. So I would consider it a broadband absorber because obviously it's absorbed better than the 2-inch or 3-inch panel, and it is used to absorb partially lower mid-range. So it's a broadband absorber. That is sold as a bass trap for purposes of just maybe sales. So it's a broadband absorber. You can use it to kind of tackle lower mid-range. And it's, as you can see, it is designed for corners. It is designed to be mounted on corners. And the reason is that as much as we have bass all over the surface of the wall, a lot of times there's not so much space for these kind of things in our small rooms. So the only option is to, number one, place them on the corners. We have plenty of space at the corners. Also, we have what we call room modes that accumulate at the corners, which we call in tangential modes. Tangential modes are modes that accumulate on the corners. Actual modes are actual modes that accumulate on the wall boundary surfaces, not corners. And then we have what we call oblique modes. Oblique modes are at the 3 corners of the room. Those 3 corners, where the 3 walls meet, that is where we have oblique room modes. So this is put on corners because of those tangential modes, to be able to kind of bring things under control. So they are broadband absorbers sold as bass traps. So do not confuse it, or do not kind of be confused when you place it and you still don't get any absorption below 100 hertz. Then the question is, now Now that all those two that are sold as bass trap don't actually qualify as bass trap, what is the true bass trap, or how do you determine which kind of panel is actually a true bass trap? So there's a video I did here when I was doing my testing for this room here, and we built these broadband absorbers, which were 6 inches thick and some were 8 inches thick, and they absorbed all the way to 70 hertz. To some extent, that is a bass trap because it went all the way below 100 hertz and partially part of 60 hertz. In that case, didn't do much below 60 hertz, and this is where I'm going to next. Why that is so? So these are designed as bass traps. They are broadband absorbers. They are called bass trap because they are, they absorb lower mid range and the part of low frequency. So the question is, which kind of bass trap do you need to absorb all the frequencies all the way to 50? So that is a very tricky question because it is determined by the room and how the room responds to sound. Because in this room here, you find that problematic room modes that are not treated are probably around 30, 40, and 50 hertz because of the nature of these kind of frequencies. So this is where the third kind of bass trap, or the second type of bass trap, will come in, which is called membrane bass traps, or we call diaphragm bass traps. They use slightly different technologies from these ones I just shown. So the broadband that I built and I are in corners of this room, and these foam ones are called porous absorbers or velocity based bass trap because they rely on air velocity to absorb sound and bring that low frequency under control. This type of bass trap that I'm talking about are called tuned bass trap, meaning they are used to solve problems that the porous bass traps cannot solve. So you get where the difference come in. So you realize you're in a room, you've treated all the frequencies except 50 hertz or except 60 hertz. So when you take your measurement, you realize 60 hertz, 50 hertz, or 30 hertz, or 40 hertz, they still bring problems in the room. Now, this is where this kind of bass traps will kick in. They are specific in terms of frequency absorption. So they are frequency specific in performance. So these are designed based on the problem that each room is encountering. So they are tailor-made for specific kind of rooms. So we don't have one type of bass trap that will solve, membrane bass trap that will solve problems in another room. Another room might have a problem at 50 hertz. Then you design a membrane bass trap that will counter that 50 hertz problem. Another room may have a problem at 40 hertz. Then you design a membrane bass trap tuned at 40 hertz to be able to bring that under control. So that is really what bass trapping all is. There's no one single product that absorbs everything. So we have of course high frequency and mid frequency absorption, and part of low frequency absorption panel, and this is the most popular kind of panels that are used in the market because they are kind of affordable and they get the job done all across the frequency range all the way to the part of the lower frequency. Then we remain with the problematic frequencies that are the sub-bass area. The sub-bass region we'll talk about membrane bass trapping, which I'll talk about in the next video. So that's how you determine what bass trap is and how you can choose which kind of bass trap to use in your room. So hope the video was helpful. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.